Walk through a neighborhood in Japan and you'll see something that doesn't make sense. At least not if you believe what aging is supposed to look like. An 85-year-old climbing stairs without holding on to anything. A 93-year-old walking to the market with perfect posture. A centenarian who's never touched a walker. Now contrast that with the US, where almost half of adults over 75 rely on mobility aids just to move around their own homes. Here's what no one is telling you. The difference isn't genetics. It's habits. And many of the small, powerful habits that keep Japanese elders mobile, confident, and independent have quietly vanished from American life. This isn't another exercise tips for seniors video. You've seen those? This is about rediscovering the 5 daily movements hidden in plain sight that keep joints young, muscles strong, and balance sharp, without ever stepping into a gym. These aren't stretches. They aren't workouts. They're lifestyle rituals deeply woven into Japanese culture and backed by science in ways most Western doctors overlook. In the next few minutes, you will learn what these habits are, and more importantly, why they work in a way that feels effortless, natural, and even enjoyable. Before we get started, drop your name and where you're watching from in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Habit number 1, the 15-minute morning ritual. A neurological reset, not a warm-up. Most people think morning stiffness is just part of getting older. You wake up, your joints feel tight, your back resists movement, your energy is not quite there. So, you pour some coffee, sit down, and wait to feel better. But here's the truth. That stiffness doesn't fade. It compounds. Every morning you skip meaningful movement, your nervous system stays sluggish, your joint fluid remains thick, your muscles forget their job. Over time, you move less with less confidence, until you can't get down to the floor anymore. Or worse, you're afraid to try. Now here's what Japanese elders have done differently since 1928. It's not exercise. It's not yoga. It's something far smarter, a full-body neurological reset. It's called Taiso, and it's practiced by millions every morning. Not because it burns calories or builds muscle, but because it gently reactivates every major joint stabilizer muscle and balance circuit in the brain within 15 minutes of waking up. This habit doesn't just wake up the body, it recalibrates it. Think of it as restarting your phone so the apps run smoothly. Only this is for your spine, hips, knees, and proprioceptors. Research from Tokyo Metropolitan University shows those who practice daily morning joint movement report 37% less joint stiffness throughout the day, even into their 80s and 90s. And here's the best part. You don't need to follow a Japanese broadcast or join a park group at 6:30 a.m. You can do a simplified version in your pajamas, right in your living room, and feel your body shift from stiff and foggy to fluid and alert in under 5 minutes. You don't need a gym, a trainer, or even a mat. Just a few minutes of movement that tells your body, it's time to live today, not survive it. Let me ask you, when was the last time you truly felt ready to move the moment you woke up? Imagine if you could feel that every day. Habit. Habit number 2. The floor transition. Lifestyle. The hidden strength test that protects your dignity. Let me ask you something uncomfortable. If you fell right now, could you get up without help? Most Americans over 65 can't. And it's not because they're weak. It's because modern life has quietly erased the single most important daily movement for lifelong strength, getting up from the floor. In Japan, it's still part of daily life. Not because they work out, but because their environment requires it. Low tables, futons, floor seating, tea ceremonies. Just living demands dozens of transitions from floor to standing every single day, and that matters more than any gym routine. When you rise from the floor, your brain activates a deep neurological sequence. Glutes, quads, core, hip flexors, ankle stabilizers firing in a specific order. This movement trains your fall recovery reflex better than any exercise machine ever could. Here's the part no one talks about. The ability to get up from the floor without using your hands isn't just a strength marker. It's a predictor of independence, survival, and dignity. A 2012 Brazilian study found that people who could rise from the floor without hands had an 83% lower mortality rate over 6 years. Not because of the movement itself, but because it reflects your brain's ability to control your body when life gets unpredictable. In America, we sit in chairs, sleep in high beds, use elevated toilets. We've engineered every challenge out of our movement, and we've lost exactly the strength we need to stay free. This isn't about furniture. It's about reminding your body what resilience feels like. Coming up next, we'll talk about how the Japanese walk differently and how each step silently preserves their joints. But first, when was the last time you got up from the floor just to prove you still could? Habit number 3, the Japanese walking secret. Why every step you take could be aging you faster. We've been told for decades, just walk more. But what if how you walk matters far more than how far you walk? In the US, most people walk with long strides, heavy heel strikes, and forward-leaning posture. It feels efficient, but it's quietly destroying your joints. Every step with a heel-first slam sends shockwaves up your ankles, knees, hips, and lower back. Researchers at Stanford found that typical heel striking generates 2 to 3 times your body weight and impact with every step. Now, multiply that by 8,000 steps a day. In Japan, elders walk differently. It's not just more often, it's more intelligent. Their steps are shorter, softer. Their feet land with the midfoot, not the heel. Their posture stays tall, their core gently engaged. This isn't a style, it's a system, refined by centuries of walking in wooden sandals that made heel striking impossible. Biomechanical. Studies show that Japanese-style walking reduces joint impact by 32% and activates 47% more stabilizer muscles. That's not just joint protection, that's full body balance insurance built into every step. And here's what's truly shocking. Many Americans develop poor walking mechanics not from injury, but from their shoes. Thick soles, rigid arches, elevated heels. We've turned our feet into passive passengers unable to sense or respond to the ground. Japanese walking retrains your entire kinetic chain, from the foot's muscles to the brain's balance centers. It's not about speed. It's about smart movement designed to preserve the joints that keep you independent. So the next time you walk, ask yourself, are you pounding the ground or moving with purpose? Up next, we'll explore the secret mobility weapon hiding in every Japanese home, hip freedom. And if this section made you rethink how you walk, let me know in the comments. Your knees will thank you. Habit number 4, hip mobility by design. Why Japanese homes preserve the one joint that keeps you independent. You can lose 40% of your hip mobility and never notice until it's too late. That's the cruel part. The hip joint is a ball and socket meant to move in multiple directions, but the Western lifestyle locks it at 90 degrees almost all day long. Sit at breakfast, 90-degree drive, 90-degree hurry, watch TV or 90-degree repeat that for 30 years, and suddenly you can't squat, can't tie your shoes, can't balance. Doctors call it adaptive shortening, when your body reshapes itself around limited movement. But in Japan, that loss never happens. Why? Because their culture bakes hip mobility into daily life, not as exercise, but as environment. Floor sitting opens the hips in external rotation. The Seiza position, kneeling on heels, promotes deep knee and ankle flexion. Even sleeping on futons requires deep squat transitions twice a day. These aren't workouts. They're joint-saving rituals disguised as routine life. And here's the kicker. Full hip mobility doesn't just protect your hips. It safeguards your knees, spine, and balance. When hips are locked, your lower back overcompensates. Your knees take extra strain. Your center of mass gets harder to shift, making falls more likely and recovery slower. A study from the Japanese Orthopedic Association found that elders who retain full hip mobility had an 89% lower chance of needing a walker after age 80. Not because they stretched, but because their homes demanded movement. In the West, we build comfort. In Japan, they build resilience. So ask yourself this, has your furniture made life easier or quietly taken your freedom? Coming up, the final habit. It's not a movement. It's a hidden balance training system built into every Japanese street and home. Habit number 5, environmental balance challenge. Why Japanese homes train your brain, not just your body. In America, balance training is something you do at physical therapy, after you've already fallen. In Japan, balance is trained before you ever know you need it. And the secret isn't in special exercises, and it's in how they live. Step into a traditional Japanese home and you're greeted with a genkan, a raised entryway that forces you to step up and down while removing shoes. It sounds simple, but neurologically it's genius. Every time you step up, balance on one foot, twist, and reach for a slipper, you're running a full-body proprioceptive drill without realizing it. Japanese elders do this multiple times a day, every day of their lives. It's not exercise. It's exposure therapy for your balance system. Modern Western life, by contrast, is engineered for predictability. Flat sidewalks, even flooring, bright lighting, handrails everywhere. It feels safer, but it's robbing your body of the very challenges it needs to stay sharp. Here's what you probably didn't know. Balance isn't a fixed ability. It's a neurological reflex that declines with disuse, when your brain stops encountering variable surfaces, unstable footing, or shifting angles. It loses the ability to respond. That's why 70% of Americans over 75 report balance problems. While most Japanese elders continue to walk temple grounds with uneven stones, no handrails, and full confidence. A Kyoto University study showed that elders who regularly navigated varied terrain had a 43% better balance recovery reflex when stumbling. Not because they train harder, but because their environments train their brains. So the question becomes, are you training for stability or avoiding it altogether? The beauty is you can rebuild this not with gym gear, but with simple challenges at home. Stand on one leg while brushing your teeth. Walk across grass, gravel, or sand. Close your eyes for 10 seconds while washing dishes. Balance isn't lost with age, it's lost with comfort. And now that you know the truth, you can reclaim it. Up next, practical advice from a specialist perspective. How to choose the right starting point for your body and your lifestyle. If these habits feel inspiring but overwhelming, start small, and start with what your body needs most. If you wake up stiff or sluggish, begin with the morning movement ritual. If getting off the floor feels impossible, focus on floor transition strength. If walking hurts your knees, shift attention to your gait mechanics. If your back or knees ache, chances are your hips are locked. Start there. And if you've noticed wobbly balance, even just while turning quickly, the environmental challenge habit is your key. You don't need all 5 to make progress. Just pick one, stay consistent for 14 days, and observe. Mobility isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters. And you deserve to move with freedom, not fear. You're not done moving. You're just getting started. Growing older doesn't mean growing weaker. It means getting wiser about what your body truly needs to stay free, strong, and independent. The Japanese don't age better because of perfect genes or miracle diets. They age better because they never stopped moving with intention. They never stopped rising from the floor. They never stopped walking with awareness. They never stopped challenging their balance, and most importantly, they never accepted that stiffness, decline, and dependency were just part of aging. Now you know what they know. And you can reclaim what many have forgotten. You don't need to overhaul your life. You just need to change the way you live. The small moments, the transitions, the steps, the morning minutes. Pick one habit. Just one. Practice it daily for 2 weeks and watch what shifts, not just in your body, but in your belief about aging. Because your body is still listening, and movement is still the language it understands best. If this message spoke to you, share it with someone you love, someone who still deserves to walk through life with strength, balance, and dignity. If this message resonated with you, I'd truly love to know, what's your name? How young are you, and where are you watching from? And if you'd like to keep learning powerful ways to stay mobile, strong, and independent as you age, consider subscribing. There's so much more I can't wait to share with you. Your journey isn't over. In fact, it might just be